the desperate need for capitalism, to let people know that the way they're going to create the change they want to see is not to wait for it, but to build solutions, to invest in other solutions. And the way we're going to help people do that is through a community that empowers and encourages them and equips them to do those, to build better, to invest smarter. And that community is called the 1%. And it's a pretty cool place.
Hey capitalists, this is Ryan Daniel Moran, and today we're going to do we've been doing this about every quarter, our Empire Report for Capitalism.com. And the reason I do this is to document the growth, the struggles, the highs and the lows for building a business from scratch. I tend to think it's kind of poetic to have the documentation of a capitalist and a company through the lens of Capitalism.com. And in this Empire Report, you're going to hear me talk about being in the trough, being in the suck, as I refer to it, as being willing to go through the hard work of things not going how you want while you build what you want on the other side of it. Most capitalists and entrepreneurs are resistant to that. They double down on what's working, which is great, but when that stops having the compounding effect that they want, they tend to ease off rather than to go aggressive, to go play offense, to build something bigger. Now, I want that something bigger. And right now, I'm in one of those transitions as an entrepreneur and as a leader of embracing the difficult transition of investing to go there. And sometimes it really sucks. And what you're going to get out of this is, first of all, I think it is going to allow you to be more aggressive in the business that you are building. And it's going to let you see what it takes in order for you to build that bigger vision. We also talk about building a vision as a company rather than just building sales or building a product. All those are a piece to building something that is bigger than you. And you're going to hear a lot about that. So enjoy this Empire Report. C-Money, what are we doing here?
Let's make some mistakes.
We're making mistakes. Usually you prompt me for Empire Reports.
Oh yeah.
So now I'm like, I don't know what to do with my hands. Sean, what do we do here?
I thought we were doing Empire Report.
So,
and I've never done that, so I'm not real sure.
So, hey everybody, welcome to the show. We're here with the coolest man in town,
All right.
SeanMcCool. And Sean, you've been with us 3 months.
Yes.
We are having our first, this is really your first quarterly retreat that we've done here when you were not just figuring out what the hell we're doing.
Literally just walked in the door.
Yeah. So the first quarter we've had some strikes, some gutters, some ups and downs. Mm-hmm. What's your take on where we are in Capitalism.com?
I'm really excited about where we are. Like the vision and the certainty of where we're going and why we're going there, I think is as clear as it's ever been. And that's really exciting. Like it clears up a lot of ideas for marketing. It clears up a lot of ideas for content. Just, I think everybody this quarter walked away with a little bit more, just like relief and space to get to know the direction.
What's that from, that relief?
I think it's just clarity and like commitment to that clarity. Like there's a little kind of, we're going in this direction, but it didn't feel to me like we're going this direction.
Before,
right?
You mean?
Yeah.
And you said this to me about an hour ago, that there has been You could, before you started, and the reason you were compelled to join was you could kind of see where we wanted to go, but you could tell that we were stuck. You could tell that we weren't getting there.
Yeah.
And I think this is so common among all capitalists. Like you have a vision that you set, and there's also the practicality of numbers,
Right.
sales, revenue, emotions, freakouts, ups and downs, needing to pay bills,
Right.
and that can prevent you from building the thing that, I say freedom is the doing. It can prevent you from doing the doing that you desire, which is why you got in this in the first place.
Right.
And I don't know where that shift happened for me, but I think you've seen it. So what have you seen?
Yeah, so what I saw, like when you first reached out to me and you shared the vivid vision with me, like I could see the vivid vision was in the direction. What I didn't see was a total commitment to that direction. With there was a back and forth between personal brand and capital. And I know this is a super common thing in today's world I call it like a founder economy. Like everybody knows who the founders of companies are. So there's this constant tug of war between founders as a person, like Elon Musk. And
if
Tesla.
He tweets, Tesla stock changes.
Right.
That's what I mean.
Right. Yeah. So there's this constant tug between I've got to have a personal brand and I've got to have and especially a lot of startup capitalists, they're torn with that. Like, do I build myself on Instagram? Do I build the product? And there was this, I could feel that and I could see that. Like it was between Ryan and it was between capitalism.
That tug. Are we building Ryan or are we building capitalism?
Yeah. And we need to build Ryan to pay the bills because that's what's paid the bills in the past. And that pain of taking 90 days, 6 months to make that transition where there will be some pain. Have you ever heard of the sigmoid curve?
No.
So the sigmoid curve, if you were to draw it out, would be kind of like a slanted S. So it goes like this. So whenever you start something, there's a dip. There's, initial costs, things like that. And then it starts to go up and then it curves back and it hits a peak and then it starts to dip. That's the sigmoid curve. Every business is going to go through it at one point or another. You're going to go through the trough, you're going to have a lot of growth, and you'll at some point begin to level out. And it could be a product line, it could be, a information product, it could be an event that you do and then it kind of doesn't work anymore. So the key with the sigmoid curve is on the upswing, you have to be starting the new thing because it's going to be a downswing. So you've got to get that down out of the way while there's still the other. And that was the fight, I think, going on. And
that is a great description. Yes. And
because it's the same company, like it's really hard to get those numbers to work. You know what I'm saying? To keep the Ryan Daniel Moran revenue and then kind of shift the focus and the theme to capitalism, and the product changes a little bit, like what you really want to be the core product has to change. And then like having to cut off, like do you take a stand and cut off the old product to really get clear on your mission, or do you keep it and nurse it along? And that tension and it's obvious that's of course you would get stuck there.
That's a great description. And it's also it's easy to see that in other companies.
Oh yeah.
I mean, if you think about most Amazon sellers who like to say, I want to be a brand. I don't want to be an Amazon business. I want to be a brand.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna launch a accessory to my original product.
Yeah.
What? And so there's never this commitment to building the brand because they don't want to go through the suck of a new channel or a new product line.
Well, it's a whole lot easier to just sell more of the same product.
Yeah.
Until it's not.
Yeah. Until that
curve tops over the top.
Yes.
And now you've missed the opportunity. Now you've got a falling business and you've got the downward upstart cost. and now you're really in a bad spot.
Yeah. And that reaction is, I want it to be easier.
Yeah.
Because there's always a risk in investing in that trough. But you ultimately don't grow if you don't go through that. And I have cycled a couple times. I was playing this out in my brain yesterday, where I have had the upswing and I've had the mentality of, great, this is all going to be cash for me to invest in the trough. And I plan for it, but when I dip, it hasn't paid off in the past. And so there's a little bit of, I guess, PTSD,
right,
of going through that suck and it not paying off, and me feeling like I took a step back to go regress into what worked in the past in order to try again.
Right.
I've done that a couple times, and this is probably our third time of investing in that growth again. And right now I feel like we're in the middle of the suck.
Yeah.
And I'm confident and committed, and I know what we're doing and what we're up to. Sometimes it really sucks.
Yeah. I think the other big shift I saw from you, and I said this an hour or so ago, I was like, I think you really finally got that if you want to build something bigger than Ryan Daniel Moran, it has to be bigger than Ryan Daniel Moran. So capitalism is a much bigger thing than you by yourself, and it required you to step back and not be the guy. And
how does that play out? Meaning, how do you know I took a step back?
So it started internally with the company, and really, so first of all, stepping back internally with the company as a leader. So I was listening to a video this morning. I told the Simon Sinek, Start With Why. It's 10 years old now. And one of the lines in there that he said is, there are leaders and there are people who lead. So there are figurehead leaders, and they kind of lead by telling and by position. And then there are leaders who lead by allowing others to do their thing, or by example. And I think you have taken a big step in the last 90 days. And I've only been here 90 days, but I've kind of been watching you in the periphery, and I know what I saw when I walked in the door. And I feel like you've taken a big step in that role of just, letting people have that, and knowing, and part of you knowing that this could go bad. And like having to be as okay with it as you can be as a leader, and giving the space to fail actually frees people up to succeed.
Yeah.
As opposed to
such a paradox,
saving them too quick.
That's such a paradox.
Yeah, we talked about that this weekend a little bit.
It's been really hard for me to make that shift.
It's hard for everybody.
There are a couple things that happened in the last couple weeks that have helped solidify that. And a lot of them were, see, Money, when we were sitting with Gary Vee in New York, and I just got, you can hear it on the recording of me having this, I got it. Where he talked about the fact that Gary Vee was not the amplifier of the business. It was VaynerMedia that was the amplifier of the business. And that's where I was like, okay. So you got to be Gary Vee because you built something, not the other way around. And they supported each other.
Right.
But Gary Vee became celebrity founder, celebrity entrepreneur, because he did something.
Right.
Really
I think
cool.
that's where a lot of the Instagram influencers are getting it backwards, is they're trying to build themselves instead of building a cause or a movement or a brand that matters.
They're selling themselves because it's cool to sell yourself.
Right. or they think you see Elon Musk, you see Steve Jobs, you see Warren Buffett, and you think, seeing from the end result backwards, oh, well, they're just amazing people.
Yes.
They must have talked about themselves. They must have, but the fact is they built something. They invested in their business, in other people, in systems and processes. And because of that, magically all of a sudden they're now Steve Jobs, Warren Buffett, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos. But in the startup phase, nobody knew who they were. I mean, nobody.
Yeah. And I have definitely made the mistake of, because I've helped so many small business owners, because I've helped so many founders hit the million, even 10 million, couple people 20, 50 million.
Yeah.
As long as it's about me, it's going to be about the capacity that I have, which is helping those people. And so there's kind of a recurring loop of getting stuck there. And if we want to be who we want to be, then that will need to be a piece of it, not the whole thing.
Right.
And when I was sitting there with Gary Vee, I went back and journaled, capitalism will need to stand on its own in order to get the result and build the vision that we want. It can't be me being the center of it. And to build capitalism. Capitalism has to be its own entity.
And that's how you got here. You know, that's the irony is, like, you built Freedom Fast Lane and you built your other businesses, and then you became Ryan Daniel Moran to the public. And then you got in the trap and the delusion that it's Ryan Daniel Moran that'll build the next thing.
Right.
But that's not how it happened.
Right.
The other
guilty.
The builder had the building, you know, being the capitalist, doing your thing, not trying to be Ryan Daniel Moran, the Instagram guy or the products guy. You were just building stuff. And out of that became a byproduct. You became admired. You became something else out of just the doing.
But you have to do.
You have to first, you have to build, you have to do those things. And I think the subtle shift that is not so subtle is you were trying to build capitalism the opposite way. You're trying to do it off of your name more than we've got this vision. We believe capitalism is the answer to society's problems and troubles. We believe in building, we believe in investing, we believe in creating change, because nobody else is going to do it the right way.
Yeah.
And our way is the right way. And if we're wrong, we'll die wrong.
Yeah.
But by God, we believe in capitalism and we're going to preach it.
Yep.
And that subtle switch I think is a lot of what has happened. Like really stepping into that, as opposed to, I'm Ryan Daniel Moran, I like to talk about capitalism. It's now like, I'm a capitalist. I don't give a damn if you know my name or not. Capitalism is what matters.
And the funny thing is that
that's what you love to talk about.
Yeah, of course it is. Like, and I've always felt this recurring loop of that is the thing I talk about, but I perceive that in order to get the numbers to what I want, I have to talk about other stuff. But the truth is, if you're willing to go through that suck, then the bigger vision grows much faster than you pursuing the numbers.
Yeah, so what in Simon Sinek's video, I mean, like I said, I haven't watched that in years, and to, you know, just my maturity that's happened since probably the last time I watched it years ago. And he talks about the early adopter curve and all that kind of stuff. And he's like, that middle section, that I think it was like 32%, the mass people, like they don't buy into what you do or how you do it until the early adopters buy into why you do it. So if you skip over those early adopters who buy on belief, and about principle and about big things like capitalism, like they want to be a part of that, the other people won't get it. They don't get it. They just see, oh, you're another guy selling products. You're another guy, But when you can get the believers first, get them stirred up behind the mission, then a movement starts and it spills over.
Could you give an example of how that applies in a non-business world? I follow you, but my brain is going, is that unique to business, or is that just how human beings operate?
Yeah.
So in a political sense, for example, does that still apply?
Yeah. So I'll give you the example he gave.
Sure.
Which was the civil rights movement. There was a lot of people who were, being abused, mistreated, not given opportunities. But it was Martin Luther King, who was a great orator, but not the greatest. Like he was another preacher. And there was others that were better speakers, but the way he positioned his thing, we were talking about that speech. One of the final lines in that video from Simon is, all these people gathered to hear Martin Luther King, and there were other speakers there that day. Like he wasn't the only guy.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So there's other things going on, and Simon says, he had an I have a dream talk, not I have a plan talk. People have to buy into the dream and the vision before they can want to work the plan.
And in that case, it was what I liked what you said of there was no website set up to get people there.
Yeah.
It was all about the movement.
Yeah.
It's about the vision.
Yeah.
It's about the dream.
Yeah. And until that has that 250,000 followers showing up in Washington, go ahead, you get it.
So I just had this thought of like, well, I mean, there are a lot of really shitty plans that people buy into as a result of buying into the vision.
Yeah.
The thing is like, let's just say build a wall, right? I'm pretty public about my political views. I'm actually really impressed with the administration and what Trump has accomplished. But the wall is just a shitty idea, in my opinion. It's just a shitty plan. But the vision that he cast gets people to buy it. Like, wall!
It was never about the wall.
Exactly. And I am of the opinion that Donald Trump never planned on building a wall. It's a rallying call. It's the thing that is so absurd that he can always blame the other side that it didn't happen to get his believers on board. See, they didn't vote for it. You need to reelect me. It's brilliant marketing. But I'm having this thought of you can also use visions for harm.
Of course you can. You can use anything for harm. I mean, you can use products for harm. You can sell them just to pick people's pockets, knowing it's a crappy product or whatever. Like, yeah, I mean, that's true for anything. But if you combine a great
you could
vision,
use a religion. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That's my braingasm for today. Sorry, I cut you off.
Yeah, if you combine a great vision, mission, movement with a great plan, now you're unstoppable.
Yeah.
And that's what we've got. I mean, that's what gets me excited about capitalism.com and our vision of the doing. Freedom is the doing, in rewriting the message that it's not about the end goal. That's a byproduct. And it's just being in the work. It's just freedom in the doing, like getting out there and building, investing, because you can, because no one else is going to. Creating that change. It's why we started lemonade stands. It's why I sold mistletoe out of the back of a pickup truck at Christmas and tied little red ribbons around it. in the Walmart parking lot and sold it for $1 a sprig and made like $250 in my senior year in high school. Because I didn't have money for Christmas presents, and I wanted to buy people girlfriend Christmas presents, my dad, and I didn't have the money. And I didn't want to go ask my dad for the money because I wanted to do the work.
Yeah, like you took personal responsibility for a problem that you didn't create.
Yeah.
Which is what I say is the definition of a capitalist.
Absolutely.
You see a problem and you take responsibility for it. And sometimes that is simply, I'm broke and I don't want to be broke.
Right.
A bad strategy is saying, elect Andrew Yang. A good strategy is, I will own this and I will do something about it. I don't know how, but I'm going to keep doing something until I create the result that I want.
And it may require you to go through that trough till you figure it out. Because there's things you can't learn unless you're in that downward part.
I was listening to Gary this morning. I think he posted, it was the best 6-minute podcast I've ever heard Gary Vee have. And it was on, my big takeaway from it was, okay, so you lose everything. So what?
So what?
Okay, everything goes away. So what? Okay, you'll lose. And what are you so afraid of? Like what if it all goes away? Like, and
rebuild.
And he made the comment, and this is so true. And it kind of reflected. It helped me see a lot of things that were holding me back that I didn't know were holding me back, or I'm aware of. It was like, oh, I see that. Which is, he said, I would much rather have parents who instilled values into me or my kids and were homeless than parents who were successful and absent. He's like, that's proven. You'll have better, happier children if you do that. And so for me, it was like, okay, so the result almost doesn't matter. It's like just a reinforcement of that idea of you can punt the result, because if it all goes away, if the result doesn't happen, you can still be present, happy, fulfilled, giving, responsible, valuable, loving. So it doesn't matter.
Absolutely doesn't matter. And so many, of the people that we look up to lost either all or big chunks. Nobody ever really loses it all. Like, you usually still have family, you still have, we try to keep score with just money when we say somebody lost everything.
Yeah.
And it's just not, you don't lose your contacts a lot of times, you don't lose your lessons. Like, you actually gain lessons. When you lose everything financially, you actually gain a lot of lessons, that make you stronger the next time. It's why so many people that, business owners that go through a bankruptcy come out stronger in a lot of ways, because they're like, oh, I see where this leads now. Okay, whoops, probably shouldn't do that again. And they make adjustments.
But there's also a sense in once you go through the bankruptcy or you go through losing it all, you're like, I'm still here.
Right, I'm still breathing.
I mean, it sucks, but like,
oh, absolutely, it sucks.
I'm still alive.
Yeah.
And now, if it happens again, it would suck again, but it's not like that. The fear of it is worse,
right,
than it actually happening.
Yeah.
And when you get that now you're a little bit more invincible. That's why we are so soft today. We're so damn soft because we have built the world to not have struggle.
Yeah,
we see struggle as the problem. No, struggle is actually part of the solution. Like, you struggle for a while and you get better and you get stronger and you create more.
Yeah.
And people are so afraid of the struggle that we insulate ourselves and each other. And then we drop responsibility and we vote for Andrew Yang and
yeah. It's funny how we'll go to the gym and we'll intentionally program a set of lifting weights to muscle failure to where we literally can't lift anymore, right? Because that's what stimulates growth. But man, in any other area of your life, that's off limits.
Yeah.
I'm not going to have the tough conversation with my wife that may cause an argument. I don't want to do that. That would cause, struggle in the family. Like, I'm not going to have the tough conversation with my kid. I'm not going to have the tough conversation, on a deal, with an employee or with a vendor or whatever. So I don't want to cause, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings or whatever. We tend to avoid it there when we go after it in a setting like the gym or working out. And I think that's why people that get it compare, athletics and sports and things so much to business, because we act totally different there than we do in other places. Like in a football game, for instance, if you're going up and down the field, the objective is to win the game. And bigger than that, the objective, is to win the season, right? So if you punt on the first series, everybody just calls it playing field position. They don't call it a failure. You're just playing field position because that first drive didn't work out quite the way you thought it was going to.
That's beautiful.
And you know what? It doesn't matter if you do first down as a run, a pass, it doesn't matter because you're just going to adjust whatever happens.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
The game is played within the grid and there is an outcome, but how it gets played is within the rules, but the variety within those rules is pretty big.
You said something yesterday where we were talking about a baseball analogy, and what do you do when a player's in a slump?
Yeah.
And your answer was?
Let him swing it, bat it out, swing it out.
Yeah, swing it out.
Yeah.
And
especially if he's an A player.
Yeah.
Especially if you just signed him for $330 million for 13 years.
And in baseball, you have 162 games, and you go through periods where you suck for a while, and players doubt themselves for a while, but it's a long season.
Yeah. And
the beauty of business is there really is no competitor. There's competitors in your industry, but when you're a capitalist, you're building something new and you're becoming something. And so the only competitor is really yourself.
Right.
And there is no end to the journey. It just keeps going.
Yeah.
And so you can run on the first play and lose 2 yards, but really you fail when
you give up.
Yeah, you give up.
If you walked off the field and went back to the locker room, then you failed. Then you just quit.
Or in a business or a more practical context, it's the person who is unfulfilled and commits suicide. Like they gained the world and lost their soul.
Yeah.
That is what happens there.
Yeah.
So for us, I feel like we're in the middle of the suck.
Yeah.
I'm learning to be comfortable in the middle of the suck. Why are you so damn excited?
Because I can see it. I know you can too. You just got more to look at than I do. Right? You're the owner.
Because
I'm not. I mean, let's be honest. That's part of it. But I know you can see it, and I know because you get lit up about it, and then you get a little water poured on the fire.
Yeah.
When you go through the numbers, or you go through the what ifs,
Yeah.
And
that's
I can why it has to be bigger than you to press forward.
And I can tell you that just me personally, the trigger for my tension around the vision happens when I go into the stuff that I don't want to go into and I feel alone in it. And the way out of that is to lean on the team, is to communicate that to the team. So there's dispersed responsibility.
Right. Yeah.
And having buy-in and ownership from the other members of the team of, okay, look, you're right, this isn't working. And there's not a big pile of money somewhere that just rejuvenates and pays checks. And I don't remember saying this to C Money, but he quotes it as like, I do feel like it's part of my job to worry about everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really my job to be aware of it for everybody else and have shared responsibility and shared ownership.
Well, I think of it like a baseball manager. Like his job is to manage the team, not to get out there and swing for the player that's not swinging. That's not who you stick in the rotation. Like you might bench a guy for a week, series or whatever, pull up somebody else to get the point across. You might let him swing it out, but the manager knows the personalities of the players. If he's a good manager, he knows what that player needs. And he'll maybe moves him in the rotation. You know, maybe he needs a little bit of somebody in front of him that's a little more consistent, somebody behind him, whatever, you know. So I think one of the shifts that I've seen you make is, or realizing that you need to make is going from player manager to just manager and letting the team figure it out. Clap them up, tell them, hey, we're behind, you know, whatever. Call them the pitch count, let them know if it's okay to swing or not. That's fine. But they still got to get out there and they got to do the swing. You can't go in and bat for them.
That's been a hard transition and a necessary one.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I feel like I have the answer.
Yeah, and you probably do.
And sometimes I feel like, yeah, but this is more important. And it's been a challenge for me to let other people own that.
Yeah.
But when I do, it's when I'm able to go do the real work to build the vision of the company. It's when either A, I come back to you with like that, I put together that branding document about what we stand for and what we believe. And you said, oh, this is what I've been waiting for. And you said, this line right here, that's what I've been waiting for. And I would have never had the space to do that had I not just trusted the team to figure some things out.
Yeah. I mean, there's things that you have as founder and owner that nobody else is going to have. I mean, it's your baby. You birthed this, right? Our job is to be the village that helps raise it, but you birthed it. So I got so many thoughts going through my head right now. But when you said earlier about letting people fail, and that we were talking about that, Jim Rohn talks about that in one of his little quips, and he talks about when a baby's learning to walk and it falls down, like we don't just be like, oh, just stay down, like no need to get back up. Like no, you let them walk. You know, you never. He talks about how you don't, like, it doesn't matter how long it takes for your kid to walk. It just, until. I mean, that was his key phrase, right? Until.
You do a great Jim Rohn impression. Someday I want to do a podcast interview with Jim Rohn. We've raised him back from the dead.
Yeah.
And it'll be about the same. The other thing, though, that practicing that muscle has of trusting the team, as uncomfortable as it has been, is it has also given me the space to think and recharge, which I have not done in 10 years.
Wow.
I mean, I have not ever backed off and charged. And I charge real quick. So when I back off even a little, like I was telling you this morning, I had a good night's sleep last night. And today at the gym, while I'm running, my body's tired and my brain is going, that's a really good angle for a webinar. And I'm not even stressed about the webinar. I just want to do the webinar because it'd be fun to do the webinar that way.
And that can only happen when you kind of let go of some of the minutia and the details.
Right.
To free that space in your brain up.
Right.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So we've talked a lot about how we're excited for it, that we are clear on it. From your perspective, what is it?
Well, it's a series of things. It's one, spreading the idea and the need, the desperate need for capitalism, to let people know that it's okay that the way they're going to create the change they want to see is not to wait for it, but to build solutions, to invest in other solutions. And the way we're going to help people do that is through a community that empowers and encourages them and equips them to do those, to build better, to invest smarter, so that they can create the change that they see out there in the world that needs to be the solution they want to take responsibility for. And we're going to support them in that. And it's going to be about them, not about us. And that community is called the 1%. And it's a pretty cool place.
And I would add to that right now, it's like that vision and that message, like we need it so much, not just in general, but now. Because there is such a trend of it's not, I mean, in marketing, one of the most powerful phrases, it's not your fault.
Oh, yeah.
And letting people off the hook is very popular.
Yeah.
Especially right now. And we are in this very important polarized position where we can go one of two ways. We can give up responsibility and we can hand it to organizations, to politicians, to society, to other people. And you can do that. You just lose freedom and control in the process.
Right.
Or we can take advantage of the fact that we have the best economy ever before in history. We have freest markets that we've ever had before in history. We have more opportunity than we've ever had before in history. And you can take a stand and make a claim and say, I will create what I want to create. And depending on which way we go as a society is going to determine a lot about our future. Mm-hmm. And what I'm interested in doing is going and getting the people who say, I will do something about this. Yep. I will change my financial life. I will change my family. I will change this problem. I will build this thing. And we're going to surround them with the opportunities to make that come to life. Because that is how you create change. So right now, it's just a very important time for us to be bringing this to the world.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more.
Well, we're proud to have you on the team, Sean.
Well, thanks.
Thanks for hanging out with me.
Yeah.
C-Money, did we miss anything?
Well, we didn't talk too much about the quarterly or get into some more
Yeah,
details,
that's true.
tactics.
So let's quickly, Sean, why was this quarterly meeting that we had so important? Or what did we decide to do that we're going to be documenting and reporting on 3 months from now?
So we, I think first quarter we went all in and agreed that we needed to have a thing that we promoted. And we got the backside of that done. Like there's a lot of stuff that had to happen, bless Inez for spearheading that and the details, and C-Money got involved on some cool stuff there and did some cool stuff.
You're talking about the actual product,
the product
that is the 1%,
itself,
right?
Right, yeah. And the actual logistics and things that go into building that. It looks easy when it shows up in your mailbox at the house, but it's not quite as easy as it looks. It never is, right? It's always harder to build. And then so that was one thing, and now rolling out, how do we let people know that exists? How do we market that? How do we sell that? How do we fulfill on that regularly? So getting that piece dialed in, a 45-day sequence of what that looks like, having a central message that we can send from anywhere, whether it's a podcast episode, whether it's a blog post, whether it's an ad, any form of traffic, whether that's paid, organic, whatever, now goes to one centralized place to start, right? For this quarter, like there may be 10 places it goes in 3 quarters from now.
And you're talking about a central lead gathering and sales process,
right?
For rallying people into that vision.
It's the rally cry that gets people gathered around the microphone so that you can tell them a little bit more about what you've got. And then building out the So on the flip side of that, building out the organic structures that support the content, the messaging, and all of that will drive that traffic. I mean, it all works together. I think it's so funny. I mean, love Russell Brunson and the stuff he does. He draws out his cute little funnels. And yes, you can build a funnel like that, but if you want to build, I think, a movement in today's world, it looks more like this. Like everything, especially with everything being digital, it's so much more connected. Your blog leads to your Facebook. Somebody sees your Facebook ad, they click, they don't buy, but now they start reading your blog a little bit, and then they're on their email. Like it's all over the place. And understanding and being okay with that, I think, is a big challenge for a lot of marketers. And yes, you can make a very simple direct offer, and you can build some products, and you can build some sales on that. And I know companies that do that, and that's what they preach, and that's their thing that they're going to stake on, that it can be super simple and all that. And that works for them, but it depends on what you're building. And that's why it's your race. It's not, you're not competing with anybody.
Yeah.
So getting the strategy for that down in, and then being able to share that with other influencers and let them take advantage of our platform, putting a process and a system in place for that was another big piece of that. And just those two pieces, like, sounds simple, but that's a quarter's worth of work. We think that's a week's worth of work, but it's just not. It always takes a little bit longer. There's a little bit more moving pieces. I don't think it'll take the full quarter. I think that's what we have lined out for this quarter is like 30 days of hard work, and then 60 days of refining and testing and that kind of stuff.
C-Money had good feedback from him. He said, I think we have a tendency as a company to get together and set goals and then feel encouraged or discouraged whether or not we hit the goals. And so I thought, okay, that's an interesting feedback. So based on that, what would be the singular thing that if we got done would impact everyone else? And it was having that one consistent lead and sales process that rallied people into it. And then all of a sudden it was like, that liberates the content team to write and to create videos and for us to post podcasts that bring into that central message. And that liberates the community and even the social media presence to be bigger than Ryan. And that just kind of opened up the world of possibilities. So I predict that this is the quarter that Capitalism.com finally becomes Capitalism rather than Ryan Moran's pet project that nobody really knows what's going on.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, thank you for being a part of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Capitalism.com/1. That's how you join the 1%.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, everybody. Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening to us talk about the empire we're building. And we'd love to be a part of the empire you're building. And that's at capitalism.com/1. Thanks, everybody. And we'll do another one of these in 3 months at the next quarterly. All right. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode.
All right, awesome.
I need to hop on a sales call in 2 minutes, so forgive me.